https://discord.gg/flat-earth. Welcome to 24/7 Flat Earth Discord channel. Be sure to go to VC Chi Check and 1 to get your VC verification tags to get involved in the conversation about our Earth. Be sure to bring your verifiable Earth curvature evidence, though.
Enemy spotted.
Sodrie.
That
Which
was a
one was
big
that?
flop. That was a huge flop.
The one where you said
we let her-
8 inches per mile squared was parabola, right? And then
Yeah,
you said you had
that's a
your own
fact.
formula.
That part is true.
Oh no,
And
that
so-
one I completely failed on. I don't know why.
Okay.
Why it's a
Alright.
different formula and not completely like fucking basic.
So
That's okay.
Sodrie, if I do the parabola for a form if I do the formula for parabola in a projective geometry on a plane, what does that look like?
If you do a formula for a parabola on a flat plane,
If I drew in a projective geometry, so what you have is a projection of a parabola onto a plane. What would that look like? As the arms of the parabola extend off into the distance towards the horizon, what would that actually look like?
like those things you used to grab salad with.
It actually looks like an oval.
Well, I mean, if they're going off into the distance, I assume you're talking about the long
Yeah, because things
overarching
can
arms
converge
on
with
them.
distance. So you have a parabola, you have the arms of the parabola, right? And it comes to an arc. If the arc is closest to you, as those arms go off into the distance, they're going to converge into the vanishing point, and your parabola is going to look like an oval, an ellipse.
Mhm.
That's just random nonsense, and you can fact check me on that. But anyway, these guys are saying you have a globe proof.
Well, I did link a video there. It's 9 minutes, so I don't assume that you're gonna watch it in one sitting. But
Oh, David
that
Keegan, that'd be hard not to throw up in my mouth, but
well, I mean, he does say stuff that's pretty accurate, and he opened up the world of surveying to me.
What makes you think it's accurate?
Oh, please don't.
Let me hold on, Elijah. What makes you think that I haven't watched the video. What makes you think what he says is accurate?
I mean, he actually shows demonstrations. Plus, he takes
Demonstrations of
pictures
what?
of space and all that.
He takes pictures of space. Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Keegan's an opportunist. So this video right here, right? Does Dave McKeegan know how far the horizon is supposed to be in this image here? Does he go over that?
Which one? The sunset
this
one?
is the longest distance photo. This one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he counted for that. Yeah.
Okay. So the horizon in this image is supposed to be in the water. So the horizon from this
Oh, never mind.
is 127 miles. That's in the water.
Wait, what?
So how can you see the far shore if the horizon's in the water? Should the shoreline, the shore, the seashore.
Are we looking at the same picture?
Yeah, in his
Oh,
thumbnail.
okay.
In his thumbnail. I've seen this image thousands of times.
Mhm.
Thousands. So this was taken by a guy named Mark Brett with a Canon, I think it's a Mark V or something, or maybe it was a EO5, and he used an apochromatic telescope, or that might be the other one. So there's a couple of these. There's more than one, but this one is from like further away. Typically, they take them from a mountain called Canigou in the French Pyrenees, but this one was like a mountain that was actually further back. But if you do the math on this, the horizon is supposed to be in the water, but you can see the land on the other side of the water. You can see the shore. You shouldn't see the shore. That shore should be
Yes.
like 24 feet under the horizon, but it's not under the horizon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he goes in detail why you can't see it because of the weather conditions.
Oh, okay. So how is this a gold proof if the weather conditions fucked up the observation?
They didn't fuck up the observation. They like made the picture possible.
Okay. That's a
Yes,
cool. So
atmospheric
that.
refraction accounts for it.
Oh, okay. So what is the evidence for atmospheric refraction picking things up over the horizon? What's
I
the
mean,
empirical testing, the data, the predictive model, like any of those things?
I
Is
don't know
there a
about
model that
prediction, but
exists?
I can look at
So
it
it's a
with my eyes.
claim. So let me get this straight. It's a claim that it exists, but there's no model that makes predictions. It sounds just like an ad hoc
I don't know
hypothesis
if there
to me.
is.
Well, I know there isn't because unlike Dave McKeegan, I actually looked at the literature, probably going back like 150 years, and I've looked at all the
Mm.
data. That's right, the data where they've actually tested for this atmospheric refraction, right? So they've used lasers, they've used lidar, they've used just observations of theodolite with using theodolites, and there's no consistent behavior. The only thing consistent that they found is that because of turbulence in the air, things move up and down sporadically, right? Because the air is always it's dynamic, it's in motion, right? So you have these little turbulence bubbles between you and especially a faraway line of sight that I don't want to get too technical because I don't know how this is. I can get like retardedly technical on this, and I don't want to like go too far. Anyway, the easiest way to say it is to say the wavefront of the light gets discontinuous as it goes through. Think about light going through like a foam of beer bubbles, but we don't see like the big bubbles of different air that the light's going through. We only see the light moving some object far in the distance. We see it moving up and down, right? Sometimes it's a little down, sometimes it's a little up. It's scintillating. That's what they call it when it comes to starlight. So this is what we see, right? But when you average this out over time, it amounts to zero refraction. And there's other problems with the claim that there's terrestrial refraction picking things up over the horizon. Number one part of that claim is because refraction is wavelength dependent, so that means different wavelengths refract at different amounts. You should see, especially when you're doing a far distance, when there's supposed to be a lot of refraction picking something up, you should see a rainbow effect. You can see something called dispersion. So that would be the wavelengths of light getting separated in their constituent parts like a rainbow. So the image should appear, any particular image should appear, have like, if you looked at a feature, it will look like what they call chromatic aberration in a photograph. The thing is, the person that took these photographs used an apochromatic telescope. So that can't be the telescope causing any chromatic aberration, and we don't notice any chromatic aberration in the image itself. That means there's no refraction going on because this isn't like an option. Refraction was
This is
discovered using dispersion. So Newton, you know Newton, right? So he used a prism to separate the lights in their constituent colors. It's because the optical path for each wavelength is longer it has different lengths through the prism. So it ends up separating the white light into its constituent parts. This is what should be happening going through the air.
okay. Well, you've made like 15 points. Can I like talk at least about one?
Well, I mean, I'm just giving you all the points about why terrestrial refraction, this claim is bullshit. It doesn't have any basis. It's just something that is said, but there's no actual empirical data, scientific data to support any of it. And all the scientific data, when you look at it, actually does not support it. It actually refutes it. The very fact that there's no existing predictive model refutes it right there. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I'll shut up.
All right. This I actually did this prism experiment while I was in high school, and this can, I mean, from what I saw, this is kind of just with pure white light that you're gonna see a rainbow. Which, I mean, sunsets are not particularly, you know, most of the light you see is yellow and orange.
look, it's going to separate the light in that band. Okay, so each wavelength, there is no like, there's no such thing as like a 550 nanometer wavelength. It's not like that, right? We can quantify it. Yes, there's light at 950 nanometers. There's also light at 951 nanometers, and every increment in between there. And the light gets spread out. It's called dispersion. Each wavelength has a different path, right? So say I have a okay, let me put it like this. The light that reflects off of an object like a mountain or trees or whatever, the ocean on the other side of this observation, that is not one wavelength of light. It is multiple wavelengths of light, reflected light. So the sun, right? The luminosity of the sun lights up the mountain. That light reflects off the mountain, and then that comes to the camera. And that light has multiple wavelengths inside of it, right? Whatever it is, green, yellow, orange. Each one of those has to separate. They're going to take different optical paths to the camera. They're not going to come on the same line. Blue is not going to come on the same freaking ray as red does, and red is not going to come on the same ray as yellow does, and purple is not going to come on the same ray as any of the other ones, and ultraviolet's not going to come on the same ray as and they're going to be spatially displaced from one another, some colors appearing higher or lower than the others. Jason, the
Just-
live stream, Jason, the text chat posted an image. Now, this is chromatic aberration caused by the camera. It's not caused by the air in this particular thing, right? This is a known effect. It's recorded. They actually compensated for in astronomy, right? In some instances, depending on the particular weather conditions for that day. They'll look through the telescope. They'll see red on the top, blue on the bottom. They know they have chromatic aberration, and they add a device to the telescope to make the light converge again, so that they can get a good image. This isn't like flat Earth or nonsense. This is well-known physical properties of light.
Well,
So, but
okay,
what I really want to tell you about, like, because listen, I don't mean to like bear down on you. I just hear this terrestrial refraction claim all the time. There's no basis for it, and you get charlatans like Dave McKeegan, who made one flat Earth video, got a bunch of views, and then he just starts making flat Earth video after flat Earth video after flat Earth video, full of straw men's logical fallacies and other nonsense, and baseless claims like that this is only possible from curvature when because it's refracted up over the horizon. There's no evidence for refraction. And there's another problem. And the problem no one ever actually talks about. So I'm going to show you a diagram that they typically show to support the idea that things get picked up over the horizon, right? See.
Tonight, I will be implementing a policy known as total nigger death.
Oh, sucks to be you then.
Indio, is there any way you could raise the volume on your mic? I've tried to raise you up way high.
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
still can't hear you.
My
ah!
Whoa!
my mic is kind of floppy, so it's like
You just broke my ears, dude.
At 400, bro. Fucking like Warren first.
Yeah, I'm keeping it at 120,
wish I
but
didn't re anybody.
Just to let you know, India, I can hear you totally fine, so I don't really know why anyone else is having problems.
What?
Now you sound fine, Indio.
I noticed
Keep talking,
something
man.
weird. Let me know if anybody else has noticed this. A lot of the people that come in that don't really want a discussion, they just want to kind of gotcha. Their mics tend to be set way too high, like just really loud.
Yeah, it's probably
Word.
And is that what you claim that I'm doing?
so. Look. I just posted a diagram, and this is a typical diagram to support the idea that things get picked up into the air, right? And we see them over the horizon, right? That there's a mirage or whatever, refraction that bends the light down to the eye, and the thing appears picked up. This is actually backwards. The mountain would not appear picked up. It would look like as if you were looking at it from a higher vantage point. Because you agree that light to see a light emanating from an object goes in all directions.
Emanating
Wait,
from
wouldn't
an
this
object?
prove curved Earth?
No, like light reflecting off an object reflects in all directions. Up, down,
Depends on the
sideways, whatever.
material.
Anytime you look at
But
an object, it's reflected light.
oh, in that case, yeah.
Yeah, so like whenever you see a picture in your room, that's the light of the room, the light of your light bulb reflecting off that picture and going into your eye, right? So that light gets, if you try to look at the picture from higher up, you see the picture because the light is being reflected off that in that direction toward a higher up position. Or if you go lower, light is being reflected off in that direction. Light is being reflected into every direction. So when you look at the picture, you can see it from every possible viewpoint because light is being projected into that direction. Now, this mountain that's being picked up, the light that would be reaching their eye would be the light getting projected in the down direction. Now, how would that be possible? Because this
The light
diagram is
getting
wrong. The
projected in
diagram
the
is
down reaction?
the down direction. See,
Yeah,
see how the
direction.
mountain is lifted up? The light that's bending to the eye is light that's being projected down. So to this observer, it would appear to him as if he was looking at the mountain from underneath it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that doesn't.
But
That
that's not
graph
how it
there, it
goes.
has a
But
flat baseline.
yeah, I understand that. This is only for illustrative purposes. It's not to prove the Earth is flat or anything like that. It's just to illustrate the where the mountain is in the path of light relative to this person, right? So the light's constantly curving down, right? So from his viewpoint, it's going to appear as if the mountain was lifted up higher than him, looking up, if this graphic was correct. But that's not how it would actually work. The light that the observer would see would be light that was emitted in an upward direction and then curved down like taking a basketball shot, right? And then came down into his eyesight. And it would appear as if the mountain is deflected up, but
What?
he would, that
No,
viewpoint would be as if he was looking at from the top down.
I
So it would appear
understand
to
that.
him, yeah. So it would appear to him, instead of the mountain being lifted up 100 feet, it would appear to him as if he was 100 feet higher, looking down on the mountain. You understand that? That this graphic is
Yes, I
actually
understand that
accurate.
this graph is exaggerated and probably has another context that you're not telling me.
But what I'm saying is, really, you really gonna do that to me?
I
You
don't
really gonna
know,
take a
dude.
sit here and lie to you?
Oof, but yeah, I mean, it's the internet. You gotta be
Yeah, well,
skeptical.
I'm not like that on the internet or anywhere else, but whatever. The point is that this is how they typically show a graphic. They'll show a globe, and I'll get another graphic, dude. They'll show something like this, and I'll get a globe graphic. They say the sun is pushed up by refraction, and it appears higher in the sky than it normally would be, pushed up over the horizon, just like this graphic. But
Mhm.
that's not how it would be. It would appear as if you're looking at it from an elevated position. Now, with the sun, the sun's a circle, so you really can't tell. But we're talking about objects, ships, boats, mountains that are you're supposed to be looking at fixed objects on the surface of the Earth that have irregular shapes. They're not like the sun. If the sun's a ball, looking at it from any angle, it'll look the same, looking from top down, sideways, left, right, whatever. But when we're looking at mountains or a ship or whatever, it should appear as if we're looking down on it. That would be the correct viewpoint. Right? You understand? That whole idea that things are getting picked up over the horizon. There's so many things wrong with it. It's not just like one thing. There's tons of things wrong with it. And if you wanted, I could go over the empirical data. Test the United States Air Force did, where they shined 3 lasers from one side of Hawaii to the other, right? And what they were doing is, because they're trying to develop a weapon system, they're trying to quantify how much turbulence there is in the air. So they picked up on the other side using a 3.4 meter telescope. And they shine these 3 lasers all coming out of the exact same spot. They pick it up in the telescope. They separate the wavelengths, and they measure the amount of what they call, it's called speckle. So they measure and from that speckle they can tell how much how turbulent the air is, and they try to make a model and quantify it. So they did this experiment. Well, problem is they go back and then they do the terrestrial refraction model, and then realize this experiment should have never worked in the first place. But because of the different frequencies of light they used it, those beams should have been spatially separated by a distance that's larger than the telescope they used. So they should have only been able to pick up 2 of the lasers in the telescope at the same time and not all 3. But the thing is, they did pick up all 3, and they did do this experiment, and it did work. See, you have data like this. There's also other ones where they tested refraction for landslides using LiDAR, and they found that the amount of deflection, and this is the one where they're actually measuring an angle of deflection. Would they measure how much deflection were there? Well, the largest deflection they measured is 0.4 mgon, and mgon is a unit of measure. If you convert it to degrees, 1 mgon equals 0.009 degrees. So over this distance that they measured, like say in 25 miles, the amount of deflection would be 8 feet. But Globers are saying shit's getting picked up 2 miles into the air, not 8 feet. You see, there's all sorts of problems with this shit. And people like Dave McKeegan preys on people like you and other people that watch his videos that don't know any better, that have never done this research. They don't know the subject matter. They want to believe the Earth's a globe, and they're just going to take what he says at face value. Did you, you insinuated that you don't trust me because it's the internet. Why'd you trust him?
Because he showed the math.
Oh, he showed the math. What math was that?
The advanced Earth curvature calculator.
Oh, so Walter Bislin's a Glover's calculator. Why would you trust him?
Because, I mean, I already know because of like a bunch of other factors that the Earth is a globe, like with pictures from the ISS and all that.
Oh, is he the one that told you 8 inches per mile squared came from flat earthers?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, he does say that though. That flat earthers made up 8 inches per mile squared, even though it's been in the literature for like 200 years.
Yeah, and actually, if you just Google, it'll tell you. It's like the first link is like, what's the Earth's curvature? And the first link is roughly 8 inches per mile squared. So
yeah, I do remember him saying that.
It's signed the flat earthers.
So forget about Dave
Jesus
McKeegan. What do you think about?
Christ.
Yeah, that was like the first time I started speaking. So Jesus fucking relax.
And you started speaking over me.
Well, all right, fine, whatever. Go on.
I do remember him saying that some people were using that estimate and that it was a rough estimate and that there was another formula. But I don't remember him saying that it like flat earthers made that number up or anything.
Okay, now what do you think about what Indio said about the military testing for refraction and it basically being no?
I don't know.
I mean, I can post all that documentation. It's not a problem.
Are you gonna believe? Are you gonna believe the mathematics? It's not even mathematics. The demonstrations and the data from the government over Dave McKeegan's.
Yeah, if I'm shown this evidence and I look at it and I'm like, yeah, okay.
I
already posted it.
I know
it's still a globe. So
you know what it means, right? You know what it means if you look at the data and you can.
Hold on, Elijah. Hold on. You got to meet her where what she said. She said she would look at the data, and if it's good, then she'd accept it. However, she then said, "But I already know it's a globe." So she just said she would accept the data while simultaneously not rejecting the globe.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, I heard that.
Because I mean, there's other factors you could count in, but I've
that's
seen raw images from the ISS that show a curvature of the Earth.
That's cognitive dissonance. You haven't seen raw images. First of all, raw images is a misnomer because images aren't pictures. So raw what?
Dude, hold on. Before
Raw,
anybody
as in
gets
the format, the codec, format like Canon has CR2, all that shit. That's a raw format.
Yeah, let me explain it. Let me explain it for you, since some guys may not have seen that. So Dave McKeegan put out a video claiming to have raw image files.
You can talk.
So Dave McKeegan put out a video relatively recently, I want to say within a couple of weeks, if anybody hasn't seen it, where he alleges to have raw image format, which is a image format, RAW, right? Which has certain information within it, and he explains that information validates that these pictures aren't fraudulent, and they allegedly show images from the ISS showing portions of the Earth with a pronounced curvature. So that's what she's talking about.
Well, first of all, it's not .raw. That doesn't exist. And also, there isn't.
I know, but the point is that that's
Oh, so why would you lie if you knew?
I'm not lying.
You said .raw.
Yes, .jpg,
.raw is a file format.
.jpeg is not raw.
No,
No,
JPEG is
dude. JPEG is a file format. .raw is a file format.
RAW is not a file format, no.
Yes, it is. It's a file format for Canon cameras. You can go
Canon uses CR2. I shoot on Canon. I shoot on Canon.
Oh,
so
then my mistake.
I know this.
Maybe it's Nikon. There is a .raw.
Nikon is
file
ARW, I think.
Yeah, I just looked it up. It says .aw. What is a raw file? How do you open it? And it's got a whole thing on adobe.com on raw files. So it clearly exists.
Yeah, they clearly exist.
.raw.
So
why'd you lie?
I was sure because I didn't know either.
Oh, hold on. Yeah, let's bring that up for a second. If somebody misspeaks, like let's say the file is .arw, even though it's colloquially referred to as a raw file, that's neither here nor there. Your first reaction shouldn't be, why did you lie? That's entirely the wrong disposition. You should just say,
that wasn't my first reaction.
What? Yes, it was. You said it doesn't exist. Why did you lie?
Why are you lying now? Now you're lying. Now you're really lying for real, for real.
No, but he was mentioning the Dave fucking
no,
the Dave
you're
video.
lying for real, for real.
In the Dave video, he mentioned CR2
Whatever.
and ARW.
Look, it doesn't matter.
But yeah, to actually tackle that video, to actually tackle your argument, that video is mostly about the conspiracy that those were faked, which is impossible.
It's not
considering
impossible.
the fact that those raw files. Oh, okay. If you want to talk over me, just fucking talk over me.
I stopped. I heard you talk. Go ahead. Well, go finish.
You already fucking threw me way off the rails here. You're gonna have to talk now.
Well, you claimed it's impossible. What's the evidence it's impossible?
I can tell you from the video because I watched it. The claim is that there's thousands of these photos. Hey, you yielded the floor with your butt hurt. Indio then yielded the floor. I took over the floor. So you're saying, oh my God, at this stage is pointless. So if you want to go, just say, oh, can I explain it rather than you? And then I'll yield to you.
I mean, he asked me, not you, but sure.
You yielded the floor,
those time lapses are made up of thousands of images, which are taken every few seconds by the ISS around certain areas, right?
So,
and you can request, which is just like wait a bit and then download raw files from those time lapses, which are made up of those raw files, right?
Okay, cool.
Are these children serious?
And those raw files. Elijah, I swear to God, I'm gonna fucking mute you. These raw files.
What?
Right?
I wish you would. You're too young.
All right, so okay, there we go. So these raw files, they contain a lot more information than your average PNG or JPEG, right?
If you mute them, you're going.
And you can just like up the contrast, up the exposure, whatever.
Okay.
I didn't even mute him, by the way. He's just fucking mad.
Don't do that, okay? Thanks.
No, man.
No, I know it's against the rules.
I'd rather she would.
She's going to cause audio chaos.
I just want her to get through this. So I can talk, please, for the love of God.
I mean, because this is such a...
Let's let her finish her fucking selling point, man. She's just trying to pitch her fucking images. Let her pitch it, and then I'm going to dismantle it.
Okay, go.
There you go. So those images, you can download them yourself, and you can open them and you can edit them, and you're going to see a lot of detail. Like in the reflections in certain images, you can even see the astronaut behind those images that was taking those images. Like in the reflection of the window which the camera's looking through. And there's also, like, you can, those databases, they have specific time codes when those pictures were taken. and you can look at the pictures themselves and see where they were taken, like what part of Earth they were taken on. And you can check the weather records, and they're going to be perfectly aligned with the clouds seen on the photos. And that's impossible to do on the amount of times they do.
Claim, I've heard Globers make that claim lots of times, that the pictures that they take from space match pictures on Earth. No Glober has ever, to this date, ever demonstrated that at all, ever. Okay? A lot of Globers claim it, no evidence for it. It's a bullshit claim.
Claim what?
Okay? The claim that the pictures that they take from space match something else. Okay? It's a bullshit claim. No one has ever demonstrated that. Ever.
Do you want me to?
Yeah, from the ground? Yeah. From the ground, match the clouds from space. Go for it.
Of course.
Yeah,
so let me grab the links here.
Yeah, from the ground. Remember what I said? From the ground. The images that they took from the ground match outer space.
They took from the ground?
Yeah, from the ground. Look, we already know about
so if I pull up the weather records,
the Himawari and all that shit. All the Himawari data and all that stuff is held in an FTP NASA NOAA website. You know what an FTP is? File Transfer Protocol. They have the website. All the website has all the frickin' images of all the cloud covers going out almost frickin' 30 fucking years. We've known this for over 2 years, 3 years. I can give you the links to the FTP site. You can frickin' download them yourself. So how can they predict in the future? This is Himawari, right? These are all the weather satellites, are all pulling their images off the same goddamn NASA website. But the thing is, they have images for the future, not the past. They have the images for the past too, but they have images for the future. They also have a program you can download so you can wrap their textures over a globe.
Pretty sure those are estimates.
So estimates into the future. Well, is it any surprise if they're all using the same source of estimated data that their images are going to match? If they're all from space? That's why I said we need confirmation of the ground with what they say they take from space. So here's the problem.
Instead of the instead of the weather records, you want me to show you a picture and the exact same time here.
Major problem you really
have
the
ISS was okay. Oh my god. Oh my fucking god. I'm losing my mind.
Okay, let me just say what the major problem. I mean, we can just cut to the chase. The major problem that you have is if the images purport to show curvature of the Earth from the ISS, the radius is wrong, and you live on a tiny Earth because the International Space Station is nowhere near high enough to see curvature. That's right, people. It's nowhere near high enough to see curvature. 250 miles above a ball that's 8,000 miles in diameter is the equivalent of being 2.25 inches above a ball that's 6 feet in diameter. Now, if you think you can take a camera and put it 2 inches above a ball that's 6 feet in diameter and see curve, you're out of your mind. I'd like to see you do that. Dude, it's not for me to say. All I know is that if the image from an ISS purports to show curvature of the Earth, I don't know how they made it. I don't have to know. Rear projection, front projection, I don't know. I know that the ISS has 3 mock-ups, right? So it could have been mock-up in a studio with a rear projection. NASA owns the world's largest green screen. They could have did it there. I don't know. I could sit here and speculate. All I know is it doesn't match the geometry of the globe. And if you go look at China's space station, which purports to be 23 kilometers lower than NASA's space station, because Chinese people can actually do fucking math, right? Unlike in America, right? They can actually do math. It shows a fucking flat Earth. So who's lying? China's lying? Is NASA lying? Who's lying? Yeah, Jason's posted it. That's from the so-called Chinese space station. It's 23 kilometers lower, according to them, 23 kilometers lower than the International Space Station. This is what they show. ISS will show you images of
completely different angles, but sure.
What angle do you think this camera can take where you're going to see a ball?
Holy crap, dude. No, stop right there. Okay, let's pay attention to the nature of the geometry of a ball. If you're off of a ball, right, and you're looking straight down, then the horizon is equidistant from all points, correct? Yes. So there is no other possible angle It's impossible. The vantage point is equidistant. What other position could you take? The ISS isn't going to spontaneously eject itself 100,000 miles to the left or right to get a different angle. It has a fixed viewpoint. The horizon's equidistant. So think about it. If the horizon's equidistant and the angle of declination to the horizon is equidistant, there is no other angle.
They have our youth smarting, yo.
So check this out, okay?
He's gonna fight it to the death.
So you're on the ISS. Let's play. We're going to a dream mode. You're on the ISS. You're looking out at Earth. You're looking at where the Earth terminates and space begins. Every part of that edge of Earth that you can see is 1,400 miles away. To the left, to the right, doesn't matter where you look. Wherever the Earth stops and it meets space, that's 1,400 miles away. Everywhere is also the same angle below your eye level, right? So if I look left, if I look right, the horizon dip is whatever it is, 14 degrees. If I look left, it's 14 degrees if I look right. So no matter what way I look, it's the same dip. How can anything ever possibly look curved from there? If everything's the same distance and everything has the same angle, can't possibly look curved. Now you can come up with your own reason of why it's faked or not faked or whatever, but it can't possibly accurately represent the globe model of 3,959 mile radius because it doesn't fit the geometry that they claim it is. It's pretty simple. Now, you could just take the image at face value. Maybe they'll show you pictures of Jesus someday and you'll believe that. I don't know. Maybe Santa, there's lots of photos of Santa. They can't all be fake, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay, but those are just claims. So why isn't it?
What are just claims?
Well, you're gonna have to like show me why it's not possible.
What? Well, okay. Well, we were gonna show you the whole military thing, and so I don't know.
Yeah, I
if
never
we're gonna
got that.
Dre's posted that a while back. He
But-
posted it while I was talking about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's go back to that later. But
I saw
the
flat
point
earther
about
dies in rocket crash. Hold on.
to the point about
He wasn't
it's
a flat
funny,
earther.
right? To the point about only seeing 3% of the Earth from the ISS height or altitude.
Yeah.
Only seeing a flat horizon. You want evidence of that? Can you do the math?
Well, let me
Jesus
give some examples to what Elijah's saying. So I took pictures of a ball really quickly, and I posted them there for you to look at, to where my camera is far enough away from the ball so I get the vantage point of curvature. And I want to ask you, this is inches and inches away from the ball, okay, with my camera. And I want to ask you the equivalence that would be if my camera was away from the Earth. Like, what scale would that be compared to the ISS?
Why use your eyes when you can use something that goes further than that?
Like what?
Like a radar?
What?
Like a radar is going to exceed what you can physically see, and
that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah,
I'm asking. I'm just
well, that's not.
We're talking about. Yeah, exactly.
If you're talking about seeing like the edge of the horizon, right? I mean, like, why leave it up to your eyes?
Dude, friend, don't ask me. Ask the people on the ISS if they have that for you.
Right.
Yeah, so they don't have it. So your point is moot. Let's get back to the point at hand.
They don't have a radar?
My, like, these points that I'm all going, like, these people know me. I've been coming here, like, continuously going through every single point I know, right? And I'm learning a lot, actually, looking stuff up to talk to you guys. That's, like, it's really cool.
Well, I mean, that's always positive, regardless of where you stand, right? So the typical flat earther, I mean, I would say tried to debunk the globe model. In the process, learned all about it. And because of the lack of tangible evidence, verifiable evidence, and really just faith in the claims of strangers that claim they go to fantastic places like and that, you know, where they drop something, nothing falls, contrary to all human experience. You can believe that, or you can go with the objective empirical evidence that you can prove. You know, you can take your choice, believe the TV or believe what's outside.
That's really what it comes down to. It's like you either trust the authority or you become your own authority. That's it.
Heaven forbid.
I know, right?
Why would you want to do that?
Keep in mind, I don't know if anybody mentioned it particularly. I know we mentioned the principles, and we did post it, but I don't know if we mentioned it in audio that there's two prominent figures, at least one prominent in the common man's experience, and one prominent among flat Earth arguers. One being Neil deGrasse Tyson, and the other being this planetarium director. Because Neil deGrasse Tyson responded to the Red Bull jump when everyone thought they were seeing curvature from Felix Baumgartner's helmet cam. Right? They said, no, this is not curvature of the Earth. This is clearly curvature of the lens or optical curvature, because from that height, you don't have a vantage point sufficient to see this amount of curvature. Now, that's true. And then Mr. Paul Larson, who runs a planetarium, who happens to be a Glober, by the way, he applied that same train of thought that Neil deGrasse Tyson had to images from the ISS. And he gave a lecture and demonstrated the math and said, look, these angles of propagation and reception would preclude you from seeing a defined curvature. Right? You have to be a sufficient distance away from a ball, and this is not sufficient distance. So that's why I posted you those images that I was away from my soccer ball to get some pronounced curvature. It's like, what equivalent scale do you think that would be relevant to the ISS? If Indio told you, right, you're 2.5 inches off a 6-foot diameter ball, how are you going to tilt your camera to see the curvature? Right, and keep in mind, you have to scale it down too, because a regular size camera's got a much bigger lens comparatively if you're going to scale it to the Earth. So how are you going to validate that the curvature you're seeing in the ISS is the curvature that you should be seeing?
I mean, I know the lens it was taken with, and it's not a fisheye lens. It doesn't really have any distortion.
That's not what we're saying.
I mean, yeah, because you said like 7 times, like 7 things, at once, but
so there's a mock-up
what
of
Tyson
the
said, I don't know what he was talking about there.
He said
we're talking about. Go ahead.
Yeah, he said. Well, first of all, I posted in the little chat here a GeoGebra construction of where the ISS would be relative to the Earth, its altitude, and the quote from Paul Larson, who is a planetarium director, and him and one of his colleagues made a scale model of so this little white circle in the middle of the blue ball, that is the entire ISS horizon. Now, they are only going to see a tiny little portion of this in this field of view. But even if they could see the whole thing, all these parts, they're going to be dead center of this, and all these parts are going to be equidistant and have the same angle below their line of sight. There's no way from this distance that they claim they can see a sufficient amount of the ball to detect curvature. Period. It's not a question. It's not. See, we use math so we can be objective and things don't have to be about opinions.
Hold on. Point A is the radius, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, point A is the radius.
But that's more than double what the radius is.
It's in kilometers.
Oh, it's in kilometers.
Yes. We got a lot of Europeans. You gotta play the game. They don't like imperial.
There we go.
I do miles. Thank you very much, man. You'll find the miles.
Well, I've never.
I just like throwing curveballs. That's what I do. I was like, I'm gonna switch to metric.
I'm not American. I kind of disproved the whole flat Earth thing by existing. But
Yeah, I'll let you hear the hostile witness.
Oh, by the way, you didn't ask, but I'm going to tell you. Do you know how high up above the Earth he was?
No.
So if you take a
63 miles.
Well, yeah, right. So take a schoolroom globe, and that's how high above it is he? So he's about 2 millimeters above the surface of a schoolroom globe. So nobody has seen the curvature of the Earth from that height. I just want to make that clear.
Mm-hmm. So what is that curvature you said? Just the lens effects?
No, dude. We don't know how they did it. Well, we do know that the ISS. If you
No,
like,
I'm asking what Tyson said.
oh, what he said about that was because it was a fisheye lens. At the Baumgartner jump, that's what he was talking about. The Felix
I'd have to see
Baumgartner
which
Red Bull
camera.
jump from 128,000 feet.
Oh no.
Well, I mean, you'd have to believe in Planet New Mexico if you thought it was an actual image of the Earth.
Yeah. What actually happened there was he was asked about Jeff Bezos and Jeff Bezos seeing the Earth curve at that height, and he was like, "No, that's too low for you to be able to see the Earth curve."
Can I ask something really quick? But even Felix Baumgartner himself lied about it and says he did see the fucking curvature.
Yeah.
What is your profession?
See, old friend, I brought more soldiers than you did.